Chapter 23. Little Ethel B. dies. Half crazy with regret and remorse, I took the train for Bradshaw, Texas, vowing to myself every mile of the way that I would settle this mess and get my family back together. I loved my wife and babies. I wanted to settle down on our ranch and never leave again. But little did I realize the beautiful young woman who had given me 5 sturdy sons would not be able to share my dream. Ethel was a mere child when we married, and leaving her parents had broken her heart. I located Mr. Hancock's place through the inquiry. I met him in the cow lot and tried to talk to him. He was tight-lipped and haughty with me. "Mr. Hancock, when will Ethel be here?" I asked brokenly. "Any day now," he snapped and continued working without looking my direction. He was not surprised to know I was alive, because Ethel had already told him. "Would you go to Esperant and help her get the cotton gathered so she and the children can come to me? My brother told me she is in bad health. I want my wife and children with me." "Go yourself. It's your family and your cotton. I don't want to get involved." I wanted to tell him that if he borrowed insurance money from Ethel, he was already involved. But he agreed that if he couldn't, he would go send someone. I told him to explain to her how she had laid herself liable for prosecution by law by taking the money. I went to my place in Sterling County to wait for them. I was a trapped man. I knew that if I surrendered, I would have to stand trial and pay back the money she took. On the 20th of January, 1920, Ethel brought the children to me. She arrived in San Angelo about 10 that night. She had taken the train from Hamlin that morning, so she and the children were worn and sleepy by the time I picked them up. Her telling my sons that they would see Papa cheered them, and they did their best to stay awake for me. Ethel was frail, distraught, and suffering from tuberculosis in its last stages. She had become so weak during the trip that several times she almost passed out. I was afraid that if she saw me at the station, she might faint or begin to cry, so I gave the boy a quarter and told him to help the lady with the 5 boys to a cab that would take them to the Linden Hotel. He did his best for us. I had her room ready, and I received word from her when she would arrive. I waited until she had had some time to get settled in, then I went to her room, opened the door, and quietly stepped in. She had taken the wraps from the children and started to take off her own coat when she turned and saw me standing in the middle of the room. Her eyes moistened, and she threw up her hand and cried weakly, "Oh, Papa dear!" She ran into my waiting arms, and I began to cry. Then Ethel sank to the floor in a dead faint. The little boys were trying to help her. I gathered the small bundle into my arms and carried her into one of the beds and laid her down on it. The children then rushed to me, hugging and kissing and crying, all trying to talk at once. I hardly knew my 2 youngest sons. I got loose from them by telling them we had to take care of Mama. I wet a towel and began to bathe her colorless face. I was kneeling beside her bed when she came to. The children were gathered round and trying to tell me about their train ride. Ethel began to cough and spit blood. I knew she needed the best of care, and immediately. I was sorry for her. I held her close to my breast and begged for her forgiveness. "You were so right, Ethel. I've been wrong for all this. I need you. I love you, and most of all, you must forgive me and take me back." I let the tears fall without shame. She grasped my rough old hands and kissed them both. She cradled my head near her thin body and cried weakly, tears mingling with salty, forgiving tears. "Byrd," she sobbed, "I've brought the children to you. Dr. Jordan says there's no hope for me. These boys need you. They're Papa. I want to stay with you until my time comes. Please." "Please, Ethel, don't talk. I'll get the best of care for you. Forgive me." I soothed her by gently stroking the long brown hair. She cried softly as she talked. "Byrd, I've made a mess of our lives. I've ruined yours. You cannot get back the money I loaned, and never should have taken it. What will we do? We let a devil ruin our lives, Byrd. What hope is there now? He has won. Mrs. Cooper has won." I tried to get Ethel not to talk, but she wanted to get it off her mind. Before I'd wondered if maybe she had taken the money, knowing I would be the one to suffer for it. But now I knew Ethel was not capable of that sort of thinking. "Byrd, Mr. Anderson, Carlos Hope, and some of your friends insisted I take the money. I tried to refuse it. I tried my best, but they kept after me that it was mine. I didn't know you had policies.
He kept telling me the boys were entitled to it. I didn't tell you or take money. Finally, they left us at the bank for me. The agent came out and tried to get me to take it, but I wouldn't. I tried to deny the money and found out my health was so bad.
She never talked much about her own health, mostly just what would happen to me and the boys. That night, she lay back on the soft pillows and sobbed her heart out. I ushered the boys to another room, showing them the gifts I had brought for them. I told the oldest to keep the others quiet, for their mama was not well. I went back to the bed and kissed my wife's faded blue eyes. I tried to tell her of my plans, but she sadly shook her head. I wanted us to be truthful about her condition. She accepted it. I hadn't. She was so young to be dying. I longed to cry out to God right there in the room and ask her why. Why not me instead? But I dared not disturb her more. I had to live with the thought I could not make up for her loneliness, my absences, her hard work and worry. Our life together had been by no means an even flow. But the greatest pleasure of my life was in loving her. I lay for moments with my head against her soft shoulder. I could hear my boys exclaiming over their gifts and their mingled voices reaching us from the other room. The soft drops of rain splashed on a window by the bed. I clung to her in my almost frantic effort to push death away from my mind. Finally, Ethel pulled my face to hers and kissed me gently. She patted my cheek, dabbed my eyes, and told me we would never again be parted in this life. She helped me then ready the children for bed. Soon all 5 sons were lost in slumber. I looked at my children, and then at the little mother who had given them to me, and realized how much I loved them all. Truly fate had not been on our side. We talked on into the night, even amid plans we both knew would never materialize. She told me she had given notice to the Southwestern Life Insurance Company of Dallas, Texas, March 17, 1919, of my death. She had written a note giving policy number and date of my death, and the policy was for $5,000. Since these policies were taken out a few years before my troubles in New Mexico, I could hardly have been expecting to collect on them at an early date. I wanted protection for my family should I pass on. Ethel had collected them in the sovereign camp of woodsmen about the world and modern woodsmen of America.
Byrd, rumors are flying in Aspermont that you are not dead. Do people in this area know you?
She whispered from her side of the bed. Only as J.H. Cochrain. I don't know really nobody here. I've kept as much to myself as possible.
Someone reported to the sheriff that he saw you on the streets. I came here also to warn you. I'm responsible for your real troubles. Mr. Cope and Pat Anderson kept insisting I take the money. I didn't want to. A man named P.C. Creamer with the Southwestern Life came to insisting that we open the grave. I told him I would shoot anyone who went near that grave that was not to be opened. Twice before Sheriff King resigned from office. Byrd, he came by and told me he had heard rumors you weren't dead and asked me about you. I told him I'd been bothered enough. He took up the matter with a grand jury for investigation. I'm afraid now. I know they're going to get you.
Ethel grew tired, and insisted she try to rest. I felt it would be only a matter of time before my arrest, since Ethel had left Aspermont. I slept very little that night. The next morning I got the family up so we could go to the ranch. After we ate, we took a closed car to Sterling City, as there was snow on the ground and the air would be cold and damp. As we rode along, I knew my troubles were mounting, but I had to take care of Ethel. One step at a time now. I tried hard to look on the bright side as the car climbed from the canyon to the top of the divide that lies between Concho and Colorado River. Ethel was very pleased with the new house. It had electric lights, new furniture, and 4 extra large rooms. After she had inspected the house, she came back to the fire where I was sitting in a big chair with all my 5 boys around me. She knelt by and said,
Papa, I belong with you. We'll figure a way out.
I didn't want this to end. I kept thinking of Dr. Jordan's words that it was just a matter of time. I lost no time searching out the best doctors in the area, but she was never well after we met again in San Angelo that snowy night. Dr. Brandon came out and gave us no hope. Her cough was worse and she hurt all the time. She got too weak for work, and when the doctor ordered her to bed completely, he said she wouldn't even get up to eat. I called on Dr. Everett to examine her. The pain had begun to be unbearable. Many sleepless nights were cried together as I sat on the bed and cradled her wasted body and arms ached to give her back to life. Dr. Everett told us that she had tuberculosis in its last stages, and he could do nothing for her. Next, I took her to Dr. Kellogg, a masseur, where I found that he could at least relieve intense pain. This was in San Angelo. At first she seemed to be getting better, but while she was there she was exposed to measles, and within 10 days she was much worse. She didn't have the rash, but the fever shot up so high that I called Dr. Brandon again, and he turned and called Dr. Everett. Dr. Brandon told Ethel she had only a few hours to live. She knew everything going on until she died. I asked her if she wanted me to send for her parents. At first, she said no, but on the 9th of May she told me to send word that she was dying and wanted to see them. I called on the telephone, and by 3 in the evening they had arrived. Mr. Hancock came in to see her only once. That was when I went downstairs and told them she wanted to talk with him alone. Some of the people we met in Sterling City came in and out of the room. A neighbor was caring for the 4 boys. After she talked to Mr. Hancock, I went back to her bedside. She told me bravely that she was not afraid. She whispered,
"Byrd, take care of these boys and rear them to fear God. Please don't worry about me. I'll meet you all in heaven. Don't grieve, for I know peace, for there will be constant pain."
She closed her eyes for a moment. I bent close to her.
"Papa, promise me you won't try to get that money from Daddy. Don't prosecute him."
Her pale lips moved a little more, but no words came. She slipped her gold ring from her finger and handed it to me. As I took it, her hand fell against the bed sheet. I held Ethel Bay in my arms and sobbed, and there she died. Someone touched my shoulder. Someone pulled a sheet over her face, and someone led me from the room. I got control of myself, and I talked to someone about funeral arrangements. We laid her to rest in Sterling City Cemetery the next day. Then I went after my children. I held them close once we got home and told them their mama had gone to meet Jesus. I knew the years would come and go quickly for them, and time would erase her memory from their little minds. But time could do nothing for me.